daughters, Caroline and Catherine, to see you, to ask for your vote, to ask for the vote of your families, your friends, and your neighbors. And before I introduce our next guest and then Ted, I want to tell you why I fell in love with Ted Cruz 16 years ago. Because when you go to vote on Tuesday, and when you go home today and call 10, 15, 20 people that you know, I want you to do it not because it's your civic duty, but because you are passionate about the person that you're calling about. You know, I learned 3 things about Ted in the first 2 weeks of knowing him. I learned that he is principled. I learned that he's a person of great courage. And I also learned how incredibly thoughtful he is. And those 3 qualities have only proven to be more and more true over the last 15 years of our marriage. Ted was raised by a man who came here from Cuba, who fought for freedom, who almost died for freedom, who values elections and knows that they are the difference and the thing that protects us from a tyrannical government. We have a say in this country, and it is up to you to get it right, because this election is going to impact not just the next 4 and 8 years, but it's going to impact this U.S. Supreme Court in an incredible way that's going to impact the next generations of this country. The second thing about Ted's family that I learned very quickly is that his mother was the first person in her family to go to college. She graduated in the 1950s with a degree in math. You know, it was no surprise to me when Ted selected Carly Fiorina to be his vice presidential nominee to be elected. Ted loves strong women. His mother is unflappable. She's patient. I remind the 27 million Texans in our home state frequently that the only person that their U.S. senator still really listens to if we need to get something done is his mother. We invite her to come over to get something done. The second thing I learned about Ted is what incredible courage he has, and you have seen that over and over in his service. You know, there's only one person running for office right now that has a proven record of not just talking about the things that you and I care about our values, about our freedoms, our religious liberty, our freedom of speech, our right to keep and bear arms, and giving power back to the states. We have one candidate who's actually done it and wins over and over and over in the U.S. courts of law, and that is Ted Cruz. You need to know how, in spite of this incredible, outspoken person for our values, in spite of his principles and his courage and his professional successes, Ted is the most thoughtful, easiest person that I've ever met. He's the kind of person that's an incredible son who dropped everything when his mother suffered from breast cancer. He's the kind of person that when his sister had a terrible bout with drugs and overdose, was with his father, went to visit her, tried over and over to help, supported his nephew when he had no money to put him in the right school. This is a person who drops everything that he's doing when his family's in trouble and goes to their aid. He's the kind of friend who canceled his Senate schedule and sat in the hospital with our dear friend who was having surgery for 6 hours, holding their hand, reading the Bible. He's the kind of father who gets down on the floor and plays games with our girls, who's teaching Caroline how to ride her bike, who rubs their feet late into the night when they can't fall asleep. And he's the kind of husband who, an hour before the South Carolina debates, presidential debates a few months ago, came running into a hotel room where I was with our kids. And I thought, you know, Ted's never stressed, but maybe tonight he's a little stressed, so I jumped up to see if I could help. And he was simply, once again, bringing us flowers and chocolates because the next day was Valentine's. There are not many candidates in this race who are thinking of Valentine's Day an hour before that debate. And the reason is, he knows the issues. He's not hauling briefing books around. He listens to people, but he owns it. He knows what he believes. These are gut instincts for him. He's not learning this for a debate or for an election. Ted will not let you down. He's my best friend. He's the best partner that I can ever hope for. And I know that you'll fall in love with him, that you have fallen in love with him, just like I have. And he is consistent, proven. He will not let us down. I want to introduce someone to you who's a very, very special guest. a friend who has become dear to me because he has sacrificially given of his time, his family's time. He has traveled this country tirelessly, and that is Glenn Beck. Yeah.